Welcome to Straight Up Reviews. There's no bullshit beyond this sign. With the holidays coming up and the convenience of my next CIEIR to be Christmas related, I thought I'd also do a Christmas related review as well. This particular film was number 2 on my top 10 guilty pleasures text list that I did a while back. This is Home Alone 2. Now before I review this, here's a little history. About a year before I was born, John Hughes, creator of such classics as The Breakfast Club and Weird Science, and Chris Columbus, one of the many future directors of the Harry Potter films, created a family-friendly film that was described as Die Hard for kids. The film was Home Alone, about a boy who gets accidentally left at home by himself by his family while they prepare for a Christmas trip. To make matters worse, a pair of burglars decide to rob the house, so it's up to him to fend them off with a series of booby traps. This film was not only a successful family film, but also launched the career of the titular star Macaulay Culkin. The less you hear about his later years, the better. It also starred Joe Pesci, fresh off Goodfellas, and Daniel Stern. Before this movie, you may know him as the narrator for Wonder Years. They play the burglars Harry and Marv, who are just as memorable as the boy thereafter. Ugh, that didn't sound right. Must change the subject fast. Fun fact, because Pesci was off Goodfellas, he had trouble shaking off the word fuck, since he said it constantly in his role as Tommy DeVito. Hughes told him to focus on the word fridge, which gave birth to Harry's trademark angry mumbling. Now, before I review this, I warn you, there will be spoilers, but not much. The story goes like so. It has been 2 years since the events of the first movie. The McAllisters are preparing for yet another Christmas trip, this time Florida. Kevin, played by Culkin, is mopey because he believes Christmas isn't the same without Christmas trees. After a pageant stunt gone wrong, Kevin is once again on the short end of the stick and he wishes he had his own vacation. It comes true when he is accidentally separated with his family at the airport and whisked away to New York City. Luckily for him, he took his father's bag, which had credit cards and enough money for him to check into the Plaza Hotel, so he can get the vacation he wants. But his vacation is cut short when Harry and Marv, fresh out of prison, arrive at New York too. They are to steal charity money from a well-respected toy store, and Kevin catches wind of this, so he prepares for more newer and dangerous traps for the duo. Now this movie didn't fare so well as the first. It wasn't a box office bomb, but critics from Roger Ebert to Rotten Tomatoes hated it. Ebert himself said, and I quote, "Cartoon violence is only funny in cartoons. Most of the live-action attempts to duplicate animation have failed, because when the flesh and blood figures hit the pavement, we can almost hear the bones crunch, and it isn't funny." Now, this is one of the first movies I watched as a kid, and I loved it, but after rewatching it again, there were certain points I would agree about, if I didn't think of a good rebuttal. In the case of Ebert's comment on cartoon violence, I strongly disagree for the following reason. Tom and Jerry. They were the reversal of Home Alone, in which their level of violence, despite their animated background, was depicted as almost as realistic as humanly possible. Nostalgia Critic even pointed out that something as simple as getting hit with a frying pan looked as real on the cartoon as it would in real life, with some limits. Hughes and Columbus, on the other hand, however, have repeatedly stated that in the universe which Home Alone takes place is far detached from reality. So any level of cartoon violence, no matter how horrifically disturbing it would be in real life and the result of deaths and serious injuries, is so far detached from reality that it's excusable. Another complaint was that all they did was rehash the same story with a different location. National Lampoon's Vacation. The Griswolds always try to do the perfect vacation. It goes wrong, but in the end they have a good time. Die Hard has a cop on his day off, which ends up in a situation where he feels he has to stop the bad guy. Scooby-Doo. The gang runs into crooks disguised as knockoffs of famous movie monsters. I can go on forever, baby. Just because it's a rehash does not mean it's all bad. There have been so many different films, both good and bad, and some of which have been far more success than the other, that were nothing more than rehashes. Hell, frickin' Star Wars was a rehash of Flash Gordon. I personally like this movie because aside from reuniting all the cast, and I do mean all the cast, it ups the ante. For starters, Kevin is out of his element. In the first movie, he was helpless, but he at least knew his hometown like the back of his hand. Here, he's in a new place and doesn't know his way, save for a few things he watched on TV. Harry and Marv are wise to his tricks and try their best to be one step ahead of Kevin. The keyword trying. Lastly, we get to see a more softer side of the little jerk, as rather than defending the home front, he's risking his life for the sake of others. This heart of gold is rarely touched upon in the first movie. Overall, Kevin himself devised new tricks to keep the duo on their toes. Bonus points for owning Tim Curry of all people with an inflatable clown, no less. This was the better sequel, which is more than I can say for the other 3 movies, which shall not be named. The movie also goes out of its way to make its Aesop more reality-based despite its routine cartoonish antics, by showing a more darker side of New York City and why a kid, even one as smart as Kevin, shouldn't wander off the streets of NYC, especially at night alone. It's a hell of a lot more better than the first movie's Aesop, where you have to fend for yourself when you're on your own. Everybody knows that one, it's not much of an Aesop. Last but not least is the music. John Williams once again returns to do the soundtrack, with a few rehashings of Somewhere in My Memory, the titular theme song of the movie, along with preparing the trap montage scene. There's also a new song, one of which that touches my own heart, Christmas Star. This song in particular was played not once, but twice in the movie, specifically for more emotional scenes. I won't say which, you'll have to find out on your own. Overall, Home Alone 2 is dangerously underrated, but it's at least worth a watch, be it for Christmas movie buffs like me or sadistic bastards like you itching to see bad guys getting hurt. I myself watch this movie religiously. As usual, debate, argue, let me know what I missed. Stay tuned for more. But until then, I'm giving you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my site before I pump your guts full of defectium. 1, 2, 10. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.